here we are with this Volvo. Came in, it was misfiring, missing. They had a check engine light, went in and got our computer, did our diagnostic, plugged it in. Our computer was saying that we had a bad injector, number 5 injector. It's giving us a code 655. We're gonna go ahead and open the top up. I'm gonna take this cover off right here so it'll be out of our way. Take the valve cover off. Take the whole rocker assembly, and pretty much get to our injector. You guys will see the process. It shouldn't be too hard. Pretty much just basic tools. We've got our impact, our sockets, a couple wrenches, and that should do the job. We're gonna start with the bolts on the valve cover. I believe that's gonna be a number 13 socket. My mistake, so number 12. Most of these are gonna be metric Volvos. Well, what causes a bad injector is wear and tear, actually, or bad fuel. If you have bad fuel, you don't change your fuel filters on time. You get fuel somewhere where it's bad fuel, dirty fuel. It goes through your filters. Your injectors are so touchy. The pores on them where it injects the fuel inside the cylinder, they're smaller than the little tip of a needle, and it takes a lot of pressure for it to go off. Pretty much you want to send that fuel inside your cylinder atomized, almost just like mist. And if it's just like mist, it'll have a perfect combustion. But if you have those little needle holes clogged, it won't work. It'll fail, run bad. Make sure you change your fuel filters. Make sure you fill up in a safe, good spot. Don't fill up somewhere where you're not sure about the fuel. Once you open this cover, you do not want to drop any bolts. A good tip, very good tip. When you open this up, you make sure you don't have nothing, no washers, no bolts, no pins, nothing inside your pockets and front pockets. Make sure you clean them out. A lot of times, a lot of people make that mistake. They lean over, up, they drop the, most of the time it's a quarter, washer, little bolt. It might go through your valves inside your engine. You're in trouble. They brought this truck pretty late to us. I guess it got messed up on the road. And the guy has a load for the morning. We're gonna do our best to get it done and finished by today. If we don't run into any problems, any trouble, we'll have it. Before I do anything else, I want to make sure I'm not cover that right there. You never want to have that exposed like that. You always want to cover it up. You drop a tool, you drop a screwdriver, you also drop a socket, you don't notice, you forget. Yeah, around $3,000 later, you have a bad turbo. Okay, we're ready. Get the baby out of there. Move it this way. Okay, we have our valve cover off. What's next is we're gonna check our number 5 cylinder, our number 5 injector, fuel injector. Make sure the wire harness is good. We have electricity, we got fire, we got everything going on with it before we actually change it. We gotta troubleshoot it, make sure it's 100% the problem before we actually remove it and put the new one on. So we're gonna go ahead and check the voltage on the wiring. Make sure, visually inspect the wiring, make sure there's not any broken wires or somewhere it's been rubbing on metal and it actually is causing a ground or something. So that's what's going to be next. After that, if we find out it's actually our injector that's bad, we're going to start removing we remove that, and then we start taking our main bolts for our rocker shaft assembly, and then we just take it off. Then we take the injector off, slap it back on. So that's what we're at so far. I'm gonna go and get my ohm meter, start checking for power on my injector, visually inspect everything. These cables, these wires right now, they've been inside the engine. They're pretty hard. Just be careful not to actually cause more damage than they actually could have. They're easy, they're brittled, so just a heads up. Okay, removing our wire harness. We're removing our wire harness so we won't have to break it, because we're going to be prying our camshaft. We're going to start taking our bolts, our camshaft rocker assembly. See, they're not camshafts no more. Yeah, it is the rocker shaft assembly. Well, this is the one you gotta remove first. You gotta be careful. You just gotta pry it down. And it has pretty much a seal with all O-rings. We'll be putting new O-rings in there. You see, that's an O-ring right there. It has, and it has another O-ring right here. So we're gonna put new O-rings in there once we're putting it back together. Well, not only that, once we were assembling everything back together, we're definitely gonna be using the torque wrench to torque everything down. You never use your impact to assemble it. Okay. Before we start yanking this one up, we gotta make sure we do take every bolt off. We do not wanna, like I said, we do not want to drop any bolts inside. Usually we have holes on those very corners. You want to cover up those very corners with either a rag or something that doesn't allow anything just pretty much anything that was going to fall through. Every time you want to take something apart on a cam or on a piston, there's a valve or it's a rocker, you always want to put it back together on the same piston. You never want to shift them around or move them around. All your bridges on your valves, and we're taking those off. Once we disassemble, we don't want any falling off. But when we take these off, you want to put them on the same spot. They're right here. They're underneath your rockers and on your valves. And this is your intakes and exhausts. And I've been asked how much would one of these cost, or what would happen if I was to lose one. It's not about you losing it. I mean, it's where you lost it. I hope you didn't go inside the engine. You better make sure you find it outside the engine. If it falls inside your engine, you gotta pretty much dig inside for it, because if you crank it on and it's in there, it's a blender inside. It'll blend it all in. Pretty much it'll do quite a bit of damage. And if you do lose it and it's not inside the engine, it's just, why go through all that? Make sure you don't lose them. The downtime that you're gonna have, calling it in, bring one over, keep them all in one spot, make sure they don't move around. And it is quite a bit, it's pretty heavy. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set it in here on top of this, and that usually keeps it balanced, keeps it in place. It doesn't let it bounce around, and it makes me gives me some room to work. The only thing we're trying to get is to number 5 injector. So oh boy, it's not gonna be easy. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna take these plungers off. There's plungers in here in the bottom. Plungers, we're gonna take these off too. Like I said, we're gonna set them right where the piston is at, where it goes. You want to see where these go? These go right in here. These are your Jake. Like I said, you gotta be careful right here. See how I cover that hole in there? There's a big hole in there where pretty much anything can fall through there. You always want to try to avoid all that. Like I said, you just gotta push it up a little bit. And that keeps them solid plates. It doesn't let them move around. They're not gonna fall. They're not gonna hurt nobody. So it gives me room here to play with. And that's it, pretty much for that. After that, on the injector, we only have one bolt right here. You can see it on this injector right here. It's a lot easier for you to see. There's that bolt right there. You take it off and you pry it up. You just gotta be very careful when you pry it up. So get a little prying in a little bit. Usually works with a heel bar real good. And there it went. Shoot. A bunch of fuel in there, that's not good. Okay, here is our injector. Went ahead and I took it off. Quite a bit of fuel went inside your cylinder. Before you put your other injector, you make sure you blow out most of your fuel in there. You can have a hydro lock pretty much. If there's a lot of fuel went in there, piston goes up, it can lock up. You can have some damaged parts in there if it does hydro lock. Make sure you do blow it out as much as you can. And look at that baby, it's pretty rusty, pretty nasty stuff right here. Just wear and tear, it gets old and water and oil and everything mixes in there. We're gonna get our other injector, we're gonna check it out, we're gonna see if it's the same injector. We're gonna go ahead and get a clean up in here, clean it all up before we start assembling, and then get our injector back on and torque everything back down. So that's where we're at. You don't want to put any mechanical tools in there or electrical tools in there. Try to avoid that as much as possible. Give it a little bit of time, a little bit of patience. A little bit of starting fluid in there to clean it all that excessive grease and oil and gunk in there. Make sure again, before you put the injector, you drain the diesel, especially the starting fluid, out of that cylinder. Yeah, you guys will see how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and stick a hose in there and drain it. Set it in there as you've seen, pretty clean. Make sure you do get it cleaned up in there. You don't want to put it in there with build up and it doesn't sit right. It'll start leaking fuel inside your cylinders. What will happen on that is early in the morning your truck will take a long time to start. It'll be a cold start, so that will prevent that from happening. And if you do have to change the cup, you gotta just change the cup. So we're gonna go get our injector, fit it in there, torque it, and start assembling everything back together. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and put the O-rings on the new injector. Look at that baby. Doesn't that baby look beautiful? What a difference, huh? Go ahead and lube these babies up. And after we lube them up, we put them on. You crank and crank and crank, and it gives you a hard time to start it up in the mornings. Usually this could be the problem. Our rings get all brittle and ripped. And leaks fuel through the injectors, and it loses its prime. So if your truck is doing that, you gotta open it up. Worst comes to worst, you gotta change your injector cups. When you put it on, you want to press it with your hand. You don't want to drive it in. You heard the snap? It'll snap in there. You don't want to hit it with a hammer or nothing. Just pop it in there. When you do that, make sure you center this one in here too. You don't want your springs hitting the electrical connection in there, so nice and centered, and then we torque it down. Okay guys, we're here. We're about to start torquing our injector. Let me tell you one thing, this is very complicated the way they explain and tells us how the process goes. It's telling us first we're going to start with tying it down 15 plus 4 pounds. So we'll start at the 15 range. And they recommend the digital torque. That one, when it's torqued, it actually goes in and lights up the light, letting us know that that's our torque. On these, you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys do know that once it gets to its torque, it clicks. And they want to be very precise with it. They don't want it to click. They want the light to go off. So we just did 15. We're gonna add another 4. So we can go to 20. Okay, we're gonna get our rockers back in place. We did remove our bridges. We're gonna put that right after we do this. And this is gonna be kind of difficult. There's so many moving parts. Okay, which one is it? Which one is it? It's this one right here. Yep. It's this one. That one's here. I still gotta torque them down. Once we're done torquing them, pretty much after this procedure is just assemble everything back together, put your electrical wiring to your injectors, and before that we're gonna go ahead and get the valve lash. Make sure we get the valve lash right on every single cylinder, and we're almost done. We're getting closer. As you can see, we have everything all back together. We just gotta go ahead and get it into top dead center, check our lash on every single one again, and then put our cover. It'll be done. Right now is just pretty much hitting these a little bit. Don't hit them too hard. Just to sit them down. Start hitting all of them at the same time. You don't want to hit one individual one just and push your whole assembly in one spot. You want to go ahead and set it down equally, or equally or even, and that is that. I'm gonna start torquing right now, and we'll go from there. Been a long day. It's around midnight. 11. So I believe we'll have this done 1 o'clock, hopefully. So that's what we're going for.